He shot my kid. Where's my kid? I don't care. Where's my kid?
It's a blur.
Will y'all tell me something? Well, where's my kid? Where is she at?
I didn't know anything. I just wanted her to be okay.
She's alive? Huh?
Come here.
She's not alive. I want to see my child.
I just needed to know, is she alive or is she dead?
Hemp Hill, Texas, a quiet town with a population of just over 1,000, was the kind of place where everyone knew each other. Life moved at a slower pace, and the community prided itself on its sense of safety and togetherness. But on Halloween night in 2020, the peace of this small town was shattered by a chilling discovery. In the early hours of October 31st, a passerby noticed a car parked on the side of the road under the faint moonlight. Inside, the lifeless body of 19-year-old Livy Lewis was slumped in the driver's seat.
Where is my child?
I told you where your child is.
In this car. What car?
She's in this car right here behind us.
A single gunshot wound to her neck marked the violent end to a promising young life. The scene was haunting. Near the car, investigators found a rifle in the grass, later identified as belonging to 24-year-old Matthew Edgar, a local resident. The discovery sent shockwaves through Hemp Hill, leaving residents shaken and desperate for answers. Who could have done this, and why? As investigators began piecing together the events of that night, a web of jealousy, betrayal, and heartbreak started to unravel. The story of Livy Lewis's tragic death was only just beginning, because even after her killer was arrested, he escaped and was tagged wanted. But was he caught? Did Livy get justice? Find out in this true crime episode as we uncover this tragic story. Livy Lewis was the kind of person everyone wanted to be around. At just 19 years old, she had already made a name for herself as a caring and dedicated certified nursing assistant. She worked at a local nursing home where residents and colleagues adored her. Her dream was to continue her education, become a nurse, and eventually become a physician's assistant, a goal she worked tirelessly toward. Livy wasn't just ambitious. She was also deeply kind. Her friends and family remember her as someone who always put others first. Whether it was her bright smile or her willingness to lend a hand, she left an impression on everyone she met. On Halloween night, Livy was simply living her life. She attended a party with her friends, hoping to enjoy herself after a long week. But little did anyone know, this would be her final evening. Livy's life was full of potential, and her story is a stark reminder of how quickly that potential can be taken away. On Halloween night 2020, Livy attended a party with her close friend Taylor Barnett. The party was a chance to relax, celebrate, and enjoy the festive atmosphere. However, the evening took a dark turn when Matthew Edgar, Livy's boyfriend, unexpectedly showed up. Witnesses at the party later described Edgar as agitated and jealous. He grew visibly upset when Livy talked to other people. His behavior escalated, creating tension among the attendees. Taylor later recalled that Edgar seemed to be watching Livy's every move, his jealousy simmering just below the surface. At some point during the evening, Livy and Edgar left the party together. The last time Taylor saw her friend alive, Livy appeared calm and didn't seem worried about Edgar's presence. What happened next remains a chilling mystery that would soon grip the town of Hemp Hill. Have you ever witnessed a situation where jealousy or possessiveness led to dangerous behavior? What do you think are the warning signs people should watch for? Let us know in the comments. This was supposed to be a fun, carefree night. Instead, it marked the beginning of a tragedy no one could have anticipated. As the events of Halloween night unfolded, Matthew Edgar sent a text message that would later haunt everyone who read it. At 3:34 a.m., Edgar texted a friend inquiring about Livy's whereabouts. When his friend asked where she was, Edgar's reply was chilling: dead. This single word raised alarm bells. providing investigators with a crucial piece of evidence that hinted at Edgar's involvement in Livy's death. It wasn't just a statement. It was a revelation of guilt that seemed to confirm the worst fears of those who knew Livy. But why would Edgar send such a message? Was it a drunken outburst, a moment of guilt, or something far more sinister? Investigators began piecing together the timeline, realizing that the text had been sent not long before Livy's body was discovered. If you were an investigator, how would you interpret such a message? Would you see it as a confession or something else? Share your theories in the comments. The text message became a critical part of the case, offering a glimpse into the mindset of a man whose jealousy and anger would soon become the focus of a murder investigation. In the early hours of Halloween, a passerby discovered Livy's car parked along a quiet road. The sight was haunting. Livy was found slumped in the driver's seat, lifeless, with a single gunshot wound to her neck. Nearby investigators found a rifle abandoned in the grass. It was later identified as belonging to Matthew Edgar. The weapon, combined with Edgar's suspicious behavior and chilling text, pointed to him as the prime suspect in Livy's death. Investigators also noted that Livy appeared to have been sitting calmly before the incident. Her legs were crossed, indicating she wasn't anticipating any danger. This detail painted a disturbing picture. Livy had trusted the person who took her life. The crime scene provided clues, but it also raised many questions. What had happened in those crucial moments, and why did it end in tragedy? As law enforcement began their investigation, all signs pointed to Matthew Edgar. Witnesses at the Halloween party confirmed that Edgar had been acting erratically. He was known to have a jealous streak, particularly when it came to Livy. When investigators questioned Edgar, he claimed to have no memory of the night in question.
I had no clue what happened.
No clue.
None.
You have a girlfriend?
He stated he had consumed a large amount of alcohol, an entire bottle of whiskey, and couldn't recall anything beyond falling asleep on his porch. His story, however, was riddled with inconsistencies. The rifle found at the crime scene was a critical piece of evidence. Ballistics experts confirmed it was the weapon used to kill Livy, and it belonged to Edgar. Investigators also reviewed Edgar's text messages, including the chilling dead message, which further incriminated him. Despite his claims of amnesia, Edgar's actions and the evidence against him painted a damning picture. The case against him was growing stronger by the day. News of Livy Lewis's death spread quickly through Hemphill, leaving the community in shock. In a town as close-knit as Hemphill, tragedies like this weren't just news. They were deeply personal. Everyone knew Livy or someone close to her. Friends and family struggled to come to terms with the loss of such a bright, kind-hearted young woman. Her co-workers at the nursing home shared stories of how Livy brought joy to the residents and always went the extra mile to care for them. Meanwhile, the community began questioning Matthew Edgar's role in the tragedy. Some expressed disbelief. Struggling to reconcile the image of Edgar they thought they knew with the horrifying accusations against him. Others were outraged, demanding justice for Livy and her grieving family. The community's grief was palpable, but so was their resolve. They wanted answers, and they wanted justice for Livy. Edgar, laying on the hospital bed, is pretending not to have shot Livy.
I had no clue what happened.
No clue.
None.
You have a girlfriend?
He remembers everything about last night, but claims he can't remember shooting her. Even though he tried so hard to pretend and defend it, his words and actions couldn't convince the investigator.
What do you think?
I'm thinking that he's not telling me the truth.
He's just basically telling you a Texas fairy tale, right?
Correct.
The trial of Matthew Edgar began in January 2022. The courtroom was packed with people from the community, all eager to see justice served for Livy Lewis. Prosecutors laid out the evidence against Edgar: the rifle, the text messages, and witness accounts of his jealousy-fueled behavior on the night of the murder. Edgar's defense, however, centered on his claim of memory loss due to intoxication. They argued that he couldn't recall the events of that night and suggested there was no definitive proof of his intent to harm Livy. As the trial progressed, the emotional toll on Livy's family became increasingly evident. Her mother, Darcy Bass, sat through every moment, determined to see her daughter's killer held accountable. You believe that memory loss or intoxication should play a role in reducing someone's responsibility for their actions. Share your opinion in the comments. The trial seemed to be heading toward a dramatic conclusion, but then, in an unexpected twist, Edgar disappeared, leaving the community stunned and justice seemingly out of reach. In an unprecedented turn of events, Matthew Edgar vanished on the third day of his trial. He had been free on bond but was required to attend court proceedings. His sudden disappearance not only shocked the courtroom, but also sent the community of Hemphill into a frenzy. The court proceeded with the trial in Edgar's absence, a rare but legal move in Texas. The evidence against him continued to mount. Witnesses testified about his erratic behavior, and the chilling text message dead was presented as a key piece of evidence. Meanwhile, law enforcement launched a manhunt to locate the missing suspect. Edgar's disappearance felt like an insult to Livy's family, who had already endured so much. For them, justice delayed felt like justice denied. Despite their frustration, they remained resolute, trusting that the system would eventually catch up with Edgar. If a suspect fled during a trial, how would you feel as a family member of the victim? Would it shake your faith in the justice system? Let us know in the comments. As the trial continued without Edgar, the community's outrage grew. They wanted answers, but more importantly, they wanted Edgar to face the consequences of his actions. Matthew Edgar's escape turned him into a fugitive. Wanted posters featuring his face were plastered across Texas, and law enforcement agencies worked tirelessly to track him down. But despite their efforts, Edgar remained elusive for over 11 months. Reports surfaced of potential sightings, but nothing concrete led to his capture. Some speculated that Edgar had received help from friends or family, while others believed he was hiding in remote areas, using his knowledge of the region to evade authorities. The search took a toll on Livy's family, who were already grappling with their grief. Her mother, Darcy Bass, refused to give up. She distributed flyers, worked with law enforcement, and used social media to keep the case in the public eye. While Edgar's freedom was a constant reminder of injustice, the community rallied behind Livy's family, refusing to let her memory fade. They were determined to see Edgar brought to justice. Throughout the ordeal, Darcy Bass emerged as a powerful voice for her daughter. She wasn't just a grieving mother. She became an advocate for justice. In interviews and public appearances, Darcy spoke about Livy's life, the pain of her loss, and her determination to see Edgar held accountable. Darcy distributed posters, often with her own hands, and urged anyone with information about Edgar's whereabouts to come forward. Her resilience inspired many in the community to join the search, creating a united front against injustice. Livy's family also used social media to keep the case in the public eye. Posts about Livy's story gained traction, sparking outrage and support from people far beyond Hemphill. Darcy's unwavering dedication to her daughter's memory became a beacon of hope. She proved that even in the face of unimaginable tragedy, love and determination could make a difference. The disappearance of Matthew Edgar galvanized the community of Hemphill. Friends, neighbors, and even strangers joined forces to support Livy's family and assist in the search for Edgar. They organized search parties, shared updates on social media, and kept the case in the public eye. Local businesses displayed wanted posters in their windows, and residents kept an eye out for any sign of the fugitive. The sense of collective determination was palpable. Everyone wanted justice for Livy and closure for her family. The case also sparked important conversations about domestic violence and jealousy. Community leaders and organizations began advocating for greater awareness and education on these issues, hoping to prevent similar tragedies in the future. Have you ever been part of a community effort to bring about justice or raise awareness for an important cause? What lessons did you learn from it? Through their unity, the people of Hemphill sent a powerful message. They wouldn't rest until Matthew Edgar was found and Livy Lewis received the justice she deserved. Despite Matthew Edgar's disappearance, the trial continued in his absence. Prosecutors presented a compelling case, detailing Edgar's possessive behavior, the ballistic evidence linking his rifle to the crime, and the chilling text message he sent on the night of Libby's death. The jury deliberated and ultimately convicted Edgar of Libby's murder. He was sentenced to 99 years in prison, a significant moment for Libby's family and the community. However, the victory felt incomplete. Edgar's absence left a glaring void, and justice felt symbolic without him behind bars. For Darcy Bass, the conviction was bittersweet. While it acknowledged the truth of what had happened, it didn't bring Edgar to account for his actions. She remained steadfast in her pursuit of closure, urging authorities and the public to continue searching for Edgar. Even with the conviction, the search for Edgar intensified. The sentence served as a reminder that no matter how far he ran, justice would eventually catch up with him. The conviction in absentia sparked a wave of public outcry. People across the country were outraged that Matthew Edgar had managed to escape while awaiting trial. Social media buzzed with hashtags demanding his capture, and news outlets covered the case extensively, keeping it in the public eye. Advocacy groups used the case to push for reforms in the bail system, arguing that someone charged with such a serious crime shouldn't have been allowed to remain free. Libby's story became a symbol of the need for stricter accountability measures for violent offenders. Meanwhile, Hemp Hill residents continued to voice their frustrations. Many felt the system had failed Libby and her family, allowing Edgar the chance to flee and evade justice. The pressure on law enforcement to locate Edgar grew exponentially. The public's demand for justice wasn't just about Edgar. It was about ensuring that no family would have to endure the same heartbreak again. As weeks turned into months, the search for Matthew Edgar grew more urgent. Law enforcement agencies across Texas collaborated, using advanced technology and traditional methods to track him down. Helicopters scanned rural areas, while K-9 units searched for any trace of Edgar. Tips poured in from the public, with potential sightings keeping the case alive. Authorities followed leads relentlessly, but Edgar seemed to stay one step ahead. The search extended beyond Texas, with national agencies like the U.S. Marshals becoming involved. Edgar's face appeared on most wanted lists, and a reward was offered for information leading to his capture. Despite these efforts, Edgar remained elusive, frustrating both law enforcement and the public. What do you think makes it so difficult to catch fugitives like Edgar? Could community involvement make a difference in cases like this? Share your ideas in the comments. The manhunt for Edgar wasn't just about finding a fugitive. It was about delivering justice for Libby and her family, a mission that remained unwavering. While the search for Edgar continued, Libby's family and friends focused on preserving her memory. They organized events to honor her life, including candlelight vigils and fundraisers for causes she cared about. Darcy Bass also became an advocate for domestic violence awareness. She shared Libby's story at community events, hoping to educate others about the warning signs of toxic relationships and the devastating consequences they could have. Libby's former co-workers at the nursing home created a scholarship in her name to support aspiring healthcare workers. It was a fitting tribute to a young woman who had dedicated her life to helping others. Though her life was cut short, Libby's impact continued to ripple through Hemp Hill and beyond. Her memory inspired action and hope in the face of unimaginable loss. After nearly a year on the run, Matthew Edgar was finally apprehended in December 2022. Authorities received a tip about his location and moved swiftly to capture him. He was found in a remote area of East Texas, living in isolation. The arrest brought a sense of relief to Libby's family and the community of Hemp Hill. For months, they had lived with the fear that Edgar might never be caught. His capture marked a turning point, allowing the justice system to finally enforce the sentence handed down months earlier. With Edgar in custody, the focus shifted to ensuring he served his sentence. The community hoped that his imprisonment would bring some measure of closure to Libby's loved ones. Even with Edgar behind bars, Darcy Bass continued her fight for justice. She worked to raise awareness about the flaws in the legal system that allowed Edgar to flee in the first place. Her mission was clear: to prevent other families from experiencing the same pain. Darcy also advocated for harsher penalties for violent offenders and more stringent bail conditions. Her efforts gained national attention, with lawmakers and advocacy groups taking notice of her work. What changes do you think should be made to the justice system to prevent tragedies like this? What role can individuals play in advocating for reform? Let us know in the comments. Darcy's resilience and determination turned her personal tragedy into a force for change, inspiring others to join her in the fight for a safer and more just society. As time passed, the community of Hemp Hill began the long process of healing. Livy's family found solace in the love and support they received from friends and neighbors. Her memory remained a guiding light for those who knew her. The case also served as a wake-up call for the dangers of jealousy and domestic violence. Community organizations launched programs to educate young people about healthy relationships and how to recognize the signs of abuse. What lessons do you think this story teaches about relationships, trust, and justice? While the pain of Livy's loss would never truly fade, the community's efforts to learn and grow from the tragedy ensured that her legacy would endure. Can you believe that Livy's mom was charged with assaults after confronting her daughter's killer Edger? Find out in my next video tomorrow. The story of Livy Lewis is one of heartbreak and resilience. Though her life was tragically cut short, her legacy continues to inspire change. Through the tireless efforts of her family and community, Livy's memory remains alive, a symbol of hope and determination. Her case highlights the importance of addressing jealousy, violence, and flaws in the justice system. It's a reminder that love and kindness, like Livy embodied, can leave a lasting impact. What will you take away from Livy's story? How can we all work to create a safer and more compassionate world? Share your thoughts in the comments. If Livy's story moved you, please like this video, share it to spread awareness, and subscribe for more impactful true crime stories. Together, we can ensure that victims like Livy are never forgotten